Hello, good evening. You're watching the Gambia Radio and Television Services, and this is the news coming to you straight from Banjul. Also coming up, young people across the country joins forces to tackle illegal and irregular migration amid calls for a fresh look towards home. Preserving a legacy of healing, the traditional herbal medication sector strongly weathers the storm of advances in convention medicine. The Gambia Organization for the Visually Impaired strikes a new partnership with its UK counterpart in the UK. Well, these and other stories coming ahead in the next 30 minutes. I am Fatu Janembai. Well, good to have you with us. A mission to break the culture of irregular migration among youth has inspired a group of young people towards positive action, bent on changing minds through a strategic awareness campaign. Youth Against Irregular Migration is the latest undertaking, going nationwide to sensitize against illegal migration and the perilous journey to Europe. Asuma Jadamat tells us more.
The session, which brought together participants across the 33 settlements of the district, centered on difficulties encountered by migrants as part of their quest to travel to Europe. In his address, the Chief of Central Badibu, Alaji Jan, commended the campaigners for the gesture, saying their life testimonies will help in changing the mindset of other intending irregular migrants in the area. Jan revealed that the perilous journey to Europe have claimed the lives of many Gambians, particularly the youths of Njaba Kunda. Karamo Keta is the chairperson Youths Against Irregular Migration.
Our aim is to gather youth together and to fight about this irregular migration that is causing troubles in the Gambia here. Yeah, we formed this association since in Libya. We was in the prison. Then we promised ourselves that when we came back to Gambia, we'll try and gather the returnees and all the youth of the Gambia join together. We operate on this association to work, against about this illegal migration in this country here.
Returning migrants such as Mustafa Salah and Mam Jarambai have this to say.
And our mission is we want to make sure that the youths are self-reliant, and our motto is like we want to engage the youths in national development so that we can reduce the incidence of this irregular migration.
The advice I have for the youths is that this journey is a terrible journey. It's very hard because some are in prison and we don't know where some people are right now. It's very difficult. So I'm advising my fellow youths that they should not embark on this journey because it's very terrible.
They informed the youths of Central Badibu to access funds for their life and livelihood skills from the European Union €11 million Youth Empowerment Project. Several speakers stressed the need for government to prioritize socio-economic opportunities in the country as an urgent response to maintain the productive sector of the national economy. Suma Jadama reporting for GRTS.
A well-timed support initiative for the Gambia Organization of the Visually Impaired GOVI brings it closer to its counterpart in the UK. Initiated by the Rotary Club of Bigelow, the St. Vincent School for the Blind in the United Kingdom strengthened its partnership with GOVI through a donation of sporting equipment and sanitary materials. The presentation event was actually witnessed by our reporter Esaso, and he tells us more.
The Gambia Organization of the Visually Impaired GOVI focuses on school education, prevention of blindness, the treatment of people with eye impairments, and advocacy for people with limited or no vision to equal rights and opportunities in all areas of social and economic life. This national institution continues to face enormous challenges in providing services to its members due to its limited resources. Apart from the support it receives from government, the organization equally depends on support from donors. The Rotary Club of Bigelow, in collaboration with partners in the UK, is the latest to boost the institution so as to enhance its service delivery. The club Friday morning donated sporting equipment and sanitary materials to the school.
I was in England where I visited St. John's School for the Blind. And I saw this side box being used over there, and I told them about blind children in the Gambia, and they said to me that we can help you with that. We can help you with a box that you can bring to the Gambia to help the people of the Gambia. I jumped at the opportunity and then came in, engaged the Rotary Club of Vigilo and asked them to take over the initiative.
Today I've seen such an amazing experience, what the children can do, writing with the braille books, the actual braille machines as well, and it's putting them out, into the bigger wide world so that they're not on their own. They don't have to be on their own. They can join in as much as a normal human being can do through sight.
The executive director of Govi, Mahmoud Mboub, was visibly delighted by the surprise visit and gesture. He commended the donors for the support, saying it will go a long way in enhancing learning and teaching at the school.
The gifts are very important because for what first they brought along sporting equipments, and recreational activities is very important, much more to the blind children, those who are visually impaired. So because sports bring a lot of things, and such facilities are not available locally. So by having them, that will engage our children, not only in the academic lessons, but from time to time to be engaged in sports.
The donors were taking on a conducted tour of the school campus and giving first-hand experience of how teaching of impaired children is done. Officials also spoke of their commitment to twin Govi and St. Vincent School for the Blind in the UK in order to strengthen partnership and collaboration between the two institutions. SRSO, GRTS News.
Now, traditional herbal medication continues to strongly weather the storm of advances in conventional medicine, its greatest competitor amid evolving modernization. In China, all treatment methods have never faded out and have increasingly popular worldwide. In Africa, the sector still struggles to catch up, but a few people have made it their lives' work to promote and raise the profile of traditional herbal medication. Haji Sumbudu tells us more.
Even though the effectiveness of traditional medicine has been debated at times, yet there is no doubt some of them work perfectly. This was confirmed to GRTS by a prominent Malian herbalist, Mr. Sidi Yaya Quraish.
This herbal medicine can cure about 100 diseases. I inherit this from my late father.
Most of the common plants available in large number in Africa have a medical value.
The orthodox medicine is derived from herbal trees to manufacture modern medicine.
Other herbalists in Serekunda market all hail the effectiveness of traditional medicine, while calling on Africa to promote its use. Reporting for GRTS News, I am Haji Sombondo.
A homestay scheme for tourists is providing holiday makers a first-hand experience of life in a Gambian home. The Ndemban Homestay Initiative was initiated by the Tourism Board and its local partners as part of efforts to promote community-based tourism. Sina Bujain has more in this report.
Villages in Foni Nemban welcomes its second batch of tourists taking part in the settlement's new homestay program. The Homestay Initiative is an inspiring scheme to provide tourists with a unique cultural experience of the Gambian way of life. The journey into the village's attractive pastoral setting gives holidaymakers the opportunity to discover, learn, and enjoy the customs and traditions in a typical Gambian home. Here, in the luscious and countrified scenery of Nemban, the true meaning of community-based tourism is clearly defined in a language of local aesthetics, generous hospitality, delightful traditions, gastronomy, and a great sense of community. In the second episode this year, tourists coming from 5 different countries, namely Slovenia, Italy, United Kingdom, and America, are relishing a special get-together in Foni Nemban. A rousing arrival, and villagers welcome the group with drumming and dancing. And there begins a family gathering joining people from diverse backgrounds on a mission to discover the unique charms of the Smiling Coast.
I think it was the 5th last week. We had a group again of 11 people from the Leeds Beckett University. And today we have also another group of 6 of them also from the Leeds Beckett University. So what they actually do is they come to the village, they get welcomed at the Alcalo's home. When they get welcomed at the Alcalo's home, the Alcalo welcomes them. Sometimes they bring along gifts. You have seen the ones that we brought today came with bags of rice. So they would donate these bags of rice to the families that they are staying with. And the Alcalo will welcome them, and then they will have a tour of the village.
Pioneered by the Gambian Tourism Board and local partners, the homestay program has successfully introduced hundreds of tourists to the Gambian way of life.
And sometimes when tourists come to an area, they may be expecting the home to be similar to their own home. And so they bring a lot of the baggage they have with them when they travel. And so sometimes I think it can be uncomfortable for the host family if the visitor isn't respectful and isn't appropriate, and if they expect it to be like a hotel. And so there can be an imbalance of perception and transaction that isn't necessarily fair.
Its community-focused approach engaged tourists and families, building solid and lasting friendships. The occasion is also a cultural exchange that impacts greatly on the lives of the community, breeding exposure and gainful partnerships. Nemban village resident Nenegale says tourism is central in their livelihoods. And so Nemban provides a cultural experience that quickly refreshes and relieves the pressure of inner city life. Homestay thus offers a purpose-built accommodation for tourists in family homes in a way that embodies the affectionate hospitality of the Gambia. With many in this group visiting the Gambia for the first time, the Nemban homestay provided a one-off chance to see firsthand how local families live. I am Saina Bijang for GRTS News.
Welcome back, and over now to sports. Gamtel Football Club has moved 2 points clear on top of the GFF First Division League table. Gamtel and Gambia Armed Forces both registered vital win in round 8. Modo Eschala has been following the country's premier football competition and brings us the latest updates in this roundup.
Reigning champions Gambia Armed Forces labored to a hard-fought 2-1 win against Real de Banjul in Week 8 of the First Division League and keep their title defense ambitions on track. Encounters between the Khaki Boys and the City Boys have become one of the heated contests in recent years, and the two sides renewed their rivalry under the Independent Stadium's floodlights as night games become very popular among football fans. 2 points separated the two sides coming into this game, with Real on 11 points and Gambia Armed Forces on 9 points, but played fewer games than their opponents. Armed Forces had been struggling to regain their title-winning form of last season, but were boosted by the return of powerful striker Emil Sambu, whose contract with South African Premier League club Santos ended prematurely. Real de Banjul made a promising start to the game by taking an early lead, Mahmoud Sohna netting the opener in the 10th minute with a close-range finish from a splendid pass from the midfield. Real had a glorious chance to double their lead inside 2 minutes from the penalty spot after a mistake by the Armed Forces goalkeeper led to a handball, but the resulting spot kick was saved by Bakasise, diving low to his right to deny Real from taking a 2-0 cushion. Armed Forces leveled the tie midway into the first half. Adama Jame, who had earlier missed a glorious chance, restored parity with a simple finish. The champions returned after the break stronger, piling pressure on the City Boys. Emil Sambu marked his return with a goal, netting the winner from the rebound. Despite a late surge by Real, they failed to break a well-organized Armed Forces side, who held on to secure all 3 points, much to the delight of Coach Ibu Jara.
How important was today's victory against a possible title contender in Real de Banjul?
Very, very important. As you all know, we will be representing the Gambia into the CAF Championship. So we're taking today's game as the most important game in making sure we have the maximum 3 points into the CAF Championship to boost our morals, especially with the executive.
We've managed to score a goal, then we have a penalty, then we lose the penalty. So it could have been 2-0. So it's all the same. They got their chances and they scored.
Week 8's biggest winners were Gamtel, whose impressive run under new coach Suleiman Kouyaté continues with a convincing 4-2 win over Banjul United, which catapulted the telecommunication boys to the summit of the table on 15 points with a game in hand, 2 points ahead of Fortune Football Club, who were held to a 2-all draw by Talinde United. So after round 8, Gamtel, with a game in hand, are topping the table on 15 points, followed by Fortune with 13 points. Gambia Armed Forces, with their win over Real, leapfrogged the City Boys to 3rd position on 12 points, whilst Marimo and Real de Banjul both have 11 points on 4th and 5th respectively. But the most exciting thing about Week 8 is the number of goals scored, with a staggering 17 goals scored in 6 matches, compared to only 2 goals scored in Week 7, and keen followers of the league will hope the scoring feat continues. Matches continues next week, Tuesday and Wednesday, with the match day 9 fixtures. Mohamed S. Diallo, GRTS Sports.
Well, congratulations to the winners and over now to Tunisia, where the football squad has spent 2 weeks in a training camp in Qatar. During this period, the technical staff evaluated the performance of domestic league players in Tunisia. Now, Tunisia is preparing for the World Cup in Russia, Moscow.
Home from Qatar after holding the first training camp in Doha to prepare for the 2018 World Cup.
The camp focused on physical preparation. It's very important for team cohesion. After 2 weeks in Qatar, we know all our teammates.
Tunisia faced 2 teams from the Qatari League. The North African squad lost its first match and won the second one.
The application matches were very important to evaluate our strengths and weaknesses.
The matches were meant to assess our players in the domestic league. Now we have a clear idea about who will remain and those who will leave the national team.
Many people here have blamed Tunisia head coach Nabil Maaloul for organizing a training camp abroad, while there were at least 3 African teams in Tunis. Experts say the Tunisia squad could have faced Mauritania, Libya and Sudan in friendly matches.
Many analysts did not accept the coach's decision to go to Qatar. Doha has one of the best medical and football centers in the world. The public opinion must respect the decision of the technical staff. Only results matter.
After 12 years of absence, the national team has realized the dream of 12 million Tunisians. As an African football nation, Tunisia views the qualification to the Russia World Cup as the most important sporting achievement in decades. Adan Shawashi, CGTN, Tunis.
Welcome back, and over now to news beyond our shores, and precisely to Egypt, where President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi has announced he will run for a second term in office. Presidential elections are due to take place in March. Al-Sisi is widely expected to win. We have details of that in this report.
Egyptian President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi made the big announcement during a televised conference in Cairo on Friday.
I recall the defining moments that have passed us, and I think about the many challenges that face the nation, and the magnitude of our ambition and the aspirations we want for our country. I find myself standing here with my conscience, telling you in the frank and transparent manner that we are accustomed to, hoping that you will allow and accept my candidacy for the post of President of the Republic.
El-Sisi listed Egypt's achievements during his first term, including a nascent financial recovery after years of political turmoil and economic instability.
I am presenting what has been achieved in the past 4 years to the next president, who you will choose in your own free will in the upcoming presidential elections, which I pledge will be a model of freedom and transparency and be characterized by equal opportunities between candidates.
El-Sisi came to prominence when he led the army's ouster of President Mohamed Morsi of the Muslim Brotherhood in 2013. Critics say his popularity has been eroded by tough economic reforms that have hit people's livelihoods hard and by a crackdown on dissidents. Egypt is set to hold a presidential vote between March the 26th and 28th, with a runoff set for between April 24th and 26th. Candidates must register between January the 20th and 29th. Susan Mugeli, CGTN.
And the Central Africans are angry about a ruling by a French magistrate dismissing a case against a group of French soldiers. The troops were accused of sexually abusing children while on deployment in the CAR. The UN's 10,000-strong mission in Central African Republic has been dogged by accusations of sex abuse since deployment in 2014 to curb fighting between mainly Muslim Salika rebels and Christian militias. We have details of that in this report.
Paris prosecutors had called for the case to be dismissed last year because part of the testimony was deemed inconsistent, even if they could not deny that abuse took place.
I don't really believe that, because those of us who live here in the Central African Republic, we heard what happened. We had the testimonies regarding those who committed the atrocities, and today they are telling us that these people were let go, which could be due to lack of evidence.
The accusations emerged in April 2015 after a leak of an international UN document containing the testimony of 6 children. The minors said they were sexually abused by French soldiers in exchange for rations while at a displacement camp in Bangui. According to the leaked UN report, at least 13 French soldiers, 2 from Equatorial Guinea and 3 from Chad, were implicated in the abuse.
The French justice system should condemn the Sangaris peacekeeping mission who are in Central Africa. Instead of protecting the people of Central Africa, they use their power to rape children. And I don't think that it is normal. I strongly condemn this decision.
Why did France decide to dismiss the case of these soldiers who were guilty of the crimes towards these girls? It's really worrying for us. We protest this decision, and many people have raised their voices to protest this judgment by the French courts.
The French soldiers were not operating under UN command at the time. A later UN mission known as MINUSCA has been accused of widespread misconduct. The then French President François Hollande promised to show no mercy if the allegations were confirmed.
I think it's a political decision because the French court took this decision to cover up for the French troops who came to commit these crimes on children in this country.
ECPAT, an organization that campaigns against sexual exploitation of children, did not rule out the possibility of appealing the magistrate's ruling. France intervened in the Central African Republic, a former colony, over 2 years ago to help stem sectarian violence. It started withdrawing some of its 2,000 troops last year, handing over to UN peacekeepers. Beryl Oro, CGTN.
And from those strong condemnations from Central Africans, we take a recap of our headline-making stories once again. Young people across the country have joined forces to tackle illegal and irregular migration amid calls for a fresh look towards home. Preserving a legacy of healing, the traditional herbal medication sector strongly weathers the storm of advancing in conventional medicine. The Gambia Organization for the Visually Impaired has entered a new partnership deal with its counterparts in the UK. And Egyptian President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi has announced he will run for a second term ahead of the country's presidential elections in March. Plus, a French magistrate has dismissed a case against a group of French soldiers, sparks outrage and anger in the Central African Republic. Well, those all in this edition of the News at 8. Thanks for the pleasure of your company. I was your presenter, Fatu Janimbai, and thank you for joining us.